Well, the blaze, which broke out on the slopes of Table Mountain on Sunday, has now largely been contained, while fire crews and helicopters work to extinguish some hotspots. We cross to Cape Town for the latest from our reporter, Vanessa Poonah. Vanessa, so you're standing on Table Mountain, I think looking down where there were blazes, and it looks like it has been contained. Just tell us what the state is right now. Is this out?
Francis, yes, good evening to you. And you rightfully say that we are at the spot where just earlier today, when we came and we filmed here, helicopters were busy water bombing this area. I'm going to step out of shot and ask Clinton Surf, my colleague, just to try and pan over to, in the far distance, you may just still see one of the three Dyser Park towers. Of course, that area over there, Francis, was a major concern for firefighters as the fire threatened that buildings. Of course, they were evacuated yesterday as a precaution, along with various roads in the Vredehuk area as the fire drew closer to that urban edge. I can tell you, Francis, at this stage that it all seems eerily quiet here today on Tafelberg Road. Of course, firefighting efforts largely bolstered today with the use of 5 helicopters, 3 UE helicopters as well as 2 Oryx helicopters that were used today. Of course, where the conditions very favorable. The strong gusting winds that we've seen yesterday putting a damper on things absolutely gone today. Although the heat did play a factor today, at this point in time, I can tell you that there are still just pockets here and there. You can still see a few plumes of smoke behind me, but largely, as you say, they're contained. We spoke to the fire authorities a short while ago at a media briefing, and they were telling us whether they will be downscaling their efforts will be discussed around about now in the next hour or so, telling us that they will then reassess whether they have to or recall some of the teams. Now, you'll know, Francis, that over the past 2 days, up to 300 firefighters and over 20 fire vehicles were involved in bringing this blaze under control. And at this point, glad to report that it seems as though everything is under control. Of course, it will take another few days of mopping up as well as just monitoring potential hotspots and flare-ups before the real assessments can start, Francis, in terms of the exact extent of the damage that this blaze caused. We know that at this point over 600 hectares of land, or rather 600 hectares here on the slopes of Table Mountain have indeed burnt. And of course that extensive damage done at UCT, the tea room there at Rhodes Memorial, the library gutted, of course Mostard's Mill, and then a number of ministerial homes, of course, also had to be evacuated. One in Newlands completely gutted. So yes, the damage definitely will run into just a few millions, I suppose. And speaking of millions, Francis, if I can just tell you, the kind of humanitarian aid and donations that have been flooding in for not just the students, but firefighters have been absolutely incredible. I mean, millions of rands have been donated via various corporates to organizations such as the Gift of the Givers, who are at this point providing thousands of meals to those students that have been evacuated. They, of course, are being housed at about 29 different hotels and venues across Cape Town at the moment, awaiting further instruction or further information from UCT management in terms of when they can return to campus after they were evacuated on Sunday. We understand that all classes, etc., have been put on hold for this week, of course, as mopping up operations and as well continues at campus. Structural engineers are still there making sure that buildings are safe and so on before the students can return. But at this point in time, as dusk settles here in Cape Town from Tafelberg Road in Table Mountain, I can tell you that it has been taken superhuman efforts of all those involved, the firefighters on the ground, those in the air, that have managed to bring this blazing fire under control and largely contained here in Cape Town.
Vanessa, you say hundreds involved, and what an effort. I mean, this has been raging since Sunday morning. So working overnight, was this a real test of our fire resources in the Cape? Were they stretched to the limit, does it sound?
Francis, you know, each time we cover these major fires, we are absolutely amazed at the effort that goes into battling a blaze of this kind. A few years ago, you'll remember the fire out in the Southern Cape Knysna as well. I mean, it's just amazing to see how these firefighters go out of their way. I mean, some of them working up to 36 hours sometimes. I know that some crews at this fire, for example, work 24 hours straight. And yes, they've been help. There have been crews from the City of Cape Town's Fire and Rescue Services Department. There have been assistants coming from working on fire. Of course, they are always involved when there are major fires around. Volunteer wildfire services have come on board, those helicopters as well, and of course the Oryx helicopters coming in, all these agencies playing a role in terms of bringing this devastation to an end. And I can tell you that it must have taken quite a bit of coordination, but these of course are trained individuals, and as a collective they are trained and highly skilled, and so they have proven once again that they are equal to the task to maintain or to make sure that these fires are brought under control. Francis, I can tell you there have been 6 injuries. 6 firefighters have sustained injuries in this blaze. A big thanks goes out to them, especially from the Premier Alan Windey a short while ago, telling us that it is incredible that there has been no loss of life, and also very grateful that there has been no loss of life. We understand that up to 9 residents have been treated for smoke inhalation, but a fire that was raging at some points out of control like this one, really it is an amazing feat that there have been no fatalities in this fire. And of course, once again, testament to the kind of work that has happened on the ground to make sure that we can now, at this point in time, today report that things largely contained here in Cape Town.
All right, thank you for that update, Vanessa Poonah. Thankfully, that is the situation, and hopefully it remains so. They will be monitoring those potential flare-ups, those little hotspots here and there.